In this video we will be covering the basics for Obi Cloth version 5. We will learn how to create a very basic flag simulation blowing in the wind. So let's jump right into it. The first thing we need to do in order to have cloth simulation is to create a blueprint. Blueprints are basically data containers that store a particle-based representation of an object. So to create one, I will right-click in the project folder, create Obi. And as you can see, there are 3 different types of blueprint. We are only interested in the basic one, cloth blueprint. I'm going to go ahead and give it a name, flag. And then I have to select a mesh to create my flag from. You can use any mesh you want as long as it's not non-manifold. A non-manifold mesh is a mesh that has any kind of malformation, like isolated vertices or faces sharing more than one edge. In this case, I'm going to select a simple tessellated plane and then click Generate. Now that our particles have been generated, we can click Edit to enter Blueprint Editor mode. And here we will select the 2 particles in the corner here. By clicking, you can click and drag over particles. You can shift click to deselect particles. And you can use these 2 buttons here to invert selection and clear selection. And I am going to select these 2 particles in the corner and create a new particle group out of them. I will rename it corners. Particle groups basically allow us to give names to specific groups of particles so that we can easily reference them from the outside world. We are pretty much done here, so I will click Done to exit the blueprint editor. And now we need to instantiate this blueprint in our scene. To do that, I am going to click Object, 3D Object, Obi Cloth here. And as you can see, Unity has created 2 objects, the Obi Cloth object and an Obi solver, which is in charge of actually performing the simulation. For now, we are interested only in the Obi Cloth. So what we need to do is drag the blueprint we just created into the blueprint slot here. And we are pretty much ready to click play, and behold our flag just falling due to gravity, which isn't very exciting. First thing I'm going to do is add a material to the renderer so that we are able to see something more than a pink square. And then we are going to create an attachment for those corner particles. So Obi particle attachment. And attachments take a target transform as input, which is the object or the transform we will be attaching the cloth to, and a particle group, which in our case are the corner particles. Now, we wanted to attach our flag to a pole, so I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Okay, and then maybe create a cube object here to act as the pole. And maybe rotate the light a little bit. Okay. So now all we need to do is to drag the cube here into the target of the attachment, so the corner particles are attached to the cube. If we now click play, you will see that the cloth behaves as it should. We can see the back side of the cloth, and that's because we are using one-sided material, so I'm going to add a second material for the back faces. And I'm also going to reduce the bending stiffness, or rather allow the cloth to bend a little bit more by increasing the max bending parameter to about 0.02. If we now click play, you will see that things are looking much better. Now, we are missing some wind here to blow on our flag. So I'm going to create a new empty game object and add an Obi ambient force zone component to it. Force zones affect all particles in a given solver, so I will drag the solver here into the affected solvers list, and now increase the intensity a little bit. And as you can see, the wind force is pointing in the wrong direction, so I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Okay, doesn't really matter where you position the ambient force zone, because it's like a directional light. It only has a direction, doesn't really have a position. If we now click play, you will see that the flag is blowing in the wind. Okay, we could increase the turbulence, for instance, to make it a little bit more lifelike. As you can see, the flag is a little bit too stretchy, so we can either increase the amount of distance constraint iterations. Distance constraints are basically the structural constraints that hold all the particles together. We can maybe increase it to 8, and as you can see, stretching has reduced a little bit. Or we can increase the amount of substeps to maybe 2. And as you can see, things have improved quite a bit. We could get really specific and tweak things to our liking, but I think this is a pretty good simulation as it is. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one.